back this mic up just a bit. Good evening, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. I'm going to miss all y'all so much. Just want to say that first off. Before I begin, I'd like to read from Romans, book of Romans, chapter 13, verses 1 through 5. Everyone must submit themselves to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. Consequently, he who rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted. And those who do so will bring judgment on themselves. For rulers hold no terror, or those who do right, but for those who do wrong. Do you want to be free from fear of the one in authority? Then do what is right, and he will commend you, for he is God's servant to you. I'm very honored to speak to you this evening on behalf of Class 10-005. I want to take a few minutes before I get started and personally thank a few people who made these 12 weeks go by a lot smoother. I say 12 weeks, it was, more than that probably. First off, I want to thank Officer Hunton. You said in your speech about being that guy that all of us want to look up to. And I want to say personally, and I know everybody else in this class agrees, you are that guy. You have helped us more than you will ever know. I look forward to the days you taught because of the passion and most importantly the lessons that you taught us the day before DT. Second, I want to thank Director Trey Drotty. You have a tough job, and I don't think any of us realize how hard you work to make this academy the best around. Third, I want to thank Lieutenant Robinson. I admire your faith. I always appreciate how you show Christ in your actions, and we're not ashamed to show it a little bit. I want to thank you for making subjects fun that can be very boring and dry. I always look forward to starting class with funny police videos that you had on your hard drive. Lastly, I want to personally thank Officer Malone. As someone who had never shot anything more than a BB gun before the academy started, Officer Malone stood by me during practice and qualification rounds and was right there in my ear telling me, you got 4 seconds for this first target. 4 seconds. Kept it in my head. Every time I go to the range, I can hear your voice in my head. I keep that in my mind. There are so many other people who have made these weeks go by so much smoother. Just to name a few, I know I'm going to leave somebody out. Hooter, Lieutenant Lanier, Lieutenant Dreslinski, Captain Meckler, Sergeant Boyer, Miss Donna and Miss Phyllis. You've notarized several job applications, and I'll be bringing more in. Captain Allen, and I've seen Free here. I never forget the fun day of fingerprinting. That was a blast. I just want to say thank you to all of y'all. This has been the best experience of my life, and I will never forget it. Now I want to speak to Class 10-005. Y'all will always hold a special place in my heart. And first off, I just want to say to Newman, there's no more test stress, buddy. No more, we're done. Just stress of bullets and stuff. But that's. When I look back on the first day of class, I can remember a lot of feelings running through me. I'm not going to lie, I was sizing all of you up. I was thinking, as each person walked, oh, I can take that guy. This is nice. He's scrawny. I remember how quiet the classroom was. And if you can ask Michelle, I don't know where she was, but she was sitting right here. She can tell you, or anybody else that has an office down the hallway, we're pretty loud. And I remember Trey Drotty coming into our class and saying that we would form a bond because we would be together so much. I had no idea how true that statement was. As I look out at all of you, I see friends that I made in 12 weeks that I consider better friends than people I went to college with for 5 years. I consider, we have been through so much together, from OC spray in the face to DT with Malone and Holcomb. We stuck through it all. There are a few of us in the class who thought we were in shape until we started wrestling on the mats. We even spent a whole morning on finding each other's pressure points. Most of the class had it easy, but for some reason, I got paired with Major Payne, the Marine, who knew exactly where to hit me on each of my spots. Every time he brought me to my knees, he would give me this little evil Nick Kimber laugh. And if you're in the class, you know what that is. I just wasn't fast enough to grab another partner when it came time, so I always got stuck with him. Then we dreaded OC spray, and rightly so. It was horrible. We even had a few guys get sprayed in the face, and all of a sudden the water disappeared. We were the first class to knock over the water apparatus. Twice. But we got through it, and we're all stronger because of it. Who will ever forget Kevin hitting the windshield of the car at the range and getting to sign his name, but he had to put Reinhardt University next to him. And him and Malone getting to know each other pretty well on mats. Then there were the many great memories that took place at the shooting range, just to name a few. Loading magazines until our fingers were raw, the smell of the gunpowder as we shot, the sound of shooting the shotguns at the metal targets, and the sound of a crank flashlight at the nighttime shooting session. Who will ever forget the feeling we got when we would receive that nice envelope with our last name on it, telling us that we had done something wrong? At least the hat I wore at the range was a Braves hat and our Subway visor. So we had memories that will last us forever. Like Caborsi, the angry northerner, yelling at the KFC girl for getting him a small piece of chicken. And seeing an Army Ranger cry at OC Day. Then there were the days of Ebop. How can you have any more fun than being handed the keys to some police cars and then tell you to drive fast? We got to skid on a Teflon-coated track, drive backwards, forwards, parallel park, and the best part is we did it all together. We cheered each other on as we zipped through the concourse, laughed as Brooke missed her turn at 40 miles per hour towards a tree, and then held our breath as Christine made her final route through the concourse with 1 second to spare. There were 12 weeks filled with stress, anxiety, joy, laughter, and tears. And then we celebrated as each person finished their final firearms qualification. There are not words that I can say today to express how much I respect each and every one of you sitting out there today. I proudly work alongside any of you, and I would feel safe with any of you backing me up on a call. There is no way any of us could have gotten through these 12 weeks without the help from our families, spouses, moms and dads, and significant others. They felt the stress as much as we did, and they should be thanked every day for it. My parents are here in the audience today. My dad is here today, and he was also my baseball coach in high school. He could probably tell you that he remembers when I and the rest of the team captains would get up before each game, and we would say this is the first game of the rest of the season, which means no looking back. I'm telling you today, this is the first chapter of the rest of our lives. I would love to stand here and wonder what it would be like for all of us to get to work with each other and see each other every day. But we know that our paths are going to lead us in all different directions, all over the state of Georgia. I remember when I graduated from high school, our class sponsors came in and told us, look around the room. You will all never be in the same place together again. Yes, it's sad that we must grow up now, and instead of enjoying breaks every hour, sometimes, or football in the parking lot during lunch, we're going to have to get to work because the communities need us, and they need us in a huge way. Instead of the stresses of tests, firearms, and EBOC, we will deal with people who hate us simply because we wear a badge. We will deal with criminals who can care less for the well-being of those around them. We will chase down a suspect all night only to have them released the next day. We will do back-breaking work that very seldom goes noticed. We will get called names to our face that you didn't even know existed. We will be made the top news story, but most likely you won't see the real side of the story. Why did we choose this career? We chose it because it's more than just about us. If I can work for a low salary and at the end of the day tell a child that they don't have to worry because they will not be abused anymore, it's worth it. If I could be hated simply for wearing a badge and save a family of 4 on the highway by arresting a drunk driver, it's worth it. It's more than just about us. When the bullets start flying and everyone else is running away, we will be running towards the danger. Before these 12 weeks started, I had a totally different mindset. I was selfish. I didn't even have a clue what law enforcement was about. We have learned from the best instructors around. We have what it takes to get out in our communities and help those who are not strong enough to help themselves. We have the job to do, and it doesn't matter what we make while we do it. It doesn't matter what awards we get, what recognitions we receive. It doesn't matter how tired or sick we are while we are working overtime, because it's not about us. We made a decision to get into this profession, and now it's time to get to work. There is one thing I remember the instructor stressing to us, is the fact that there is one goal at the end of each night: to go home. We refuse to die. These are the words of Officer Holcomb. We refuse to die on the streets at the hands of some criminal. We will never give up because we have too much to live for. We will win. I want to leave you with some words from Paul Harvey. As a child growing up, when we would take road trips, I can always remember hearing Paul Harvey in the background doing the rest of the story. And nobody says it quite like him, so forgive me if it doesn't have quite the same ring. But he had a special place in his heart for law enforcement. His father was killed in the line of duty when he was just a toddler. And these are some words of exactly what he thinks a policeman is. A policeman is a composite of what all men are, I guess. Mingling of saint and sinner, dust and deity. Called statistics, wave the fan over stinkers, underscore instances of dishonesty and brutality, because they are news. What that really means is that they are exceptional, they are unusual, they are not commonplace. Buried under the froth is the fact, and the fact is that less than 0.5% of policemen misfit that uniform. And that is a better average than you'd find among clergymen. What is a policeman? He of all men is at once the most needed, the most wanted. He's a strangely nameless creature who is served to his face and pig or worse behind his back. He must be such a diplomat that he can settle differences between individuals so that each will think he won. But if a policeman is neat, he's conceited. If he's careless, he's a bum. If he's pleasant, he's a flirt. If he's not, he's a grouch. He must make an instant decision, which would require months for a lawyer. But if he hurries, he's careless. If he's deliberate, he's lazy. He must be the first to an accident and infallible with a diagnosis. He must be able to start breathing, stop bleeding, tie splints, and above all, be sure the victim goes home without a limb or expect to be sued. The police officer must know every gun, draw on the run, and hit where it doesn't hurt. He must be able to whip 2 men twice his size and half his age without damaging his uniform and without being brutal. If you hit him, he's a coward. If he hits you, he's a bully. A policeman must know everything and not tell. He must know where all the sin is and not partake. A policeman from a single human hair must be able to describe the crime, the weapon, and the criminal and tell you where the criminal is hiding. But if he catches the criminal, he's lucky. If he doesn't, he's a dunce. If he gets promoted, he has political pull. If he doesn't, he's a dullard. The policeman must chase bum leads to a dead end, stake out 10 nights to tag one witness who saw it happen but refused to remember. He runs files, writes reports until his eyes ache to build a case against some felon who has been dealt out by a shameless Seamus or an honorable who isn't honorable. The policeman must be a minister, a social worker, a diplomat, a tough guy, and a gentleman. And of course, he'd have to be a genius because he'd have to feed a family on a police officer's salary. I just want to thank all of you for giving me these last few weeks of class. And once again, I want to say I will never forget any one of you. Y'all are my closest friends. Y'all will